Hey guys, so I promised a video on how to set a VM and install Linux. I don't have time to film all that and edit it and all the rest of it, so I thought I'd just do a live stream. So the first thing you're going to need to do, I'm not in my BIOS just now, but is go into your BIOS and make sure that virtualization is enabled. It's not really a big deal. If virtualization isn't enabled, then basically it just means that you'll be limited to a 32-bit virtual machine. So just make sure that's enabled. Then you need to go and download a VM. So I'm just using VirtualBox from Oracle. The link is in the video description. It's also on this web page here, so that's the one you need. Windows installer. If you're running Mac, then you'll need a Mac installer or a Mac image, and then you can just open it. The next thing you need is to get Ubuntu. So you just go here. By the way, the distribution of Linux I'm using is Unbuntu. I'm just going to check the volume on my headphones. So yeah, you can pick any distribution you want to, but I like Ubuntu. So you just come here, and I wouldn't install 17.04 at the moment. I would go for this one. This is the kind of desktop version. You just hit download. You can set all these to 0 because let's face it, if he wants to pay for something, and that just says, oh no, you're not going to contribute anything, and then you just go, where's it gone now? There is a download button somewhere. Oh, you can contribute. I don't want to contribute. So, where the hell's it gone? Continue to your download installation guide. You don't need any of that. And then it just starts downloading the ISO there. So that's it. Let's get rid of that. Let's cancel that because I don't need it. I've already got it. Now, once you've got all those things, I just put them on a little kind of folder here called Linux VM. I'm already running a Linux VM on my other machine, so that's fine. I just want to mute this. So let's mute it. Yeah, that's better. So I'm running a Linux VM. I've been running a Linux VM for ages on my Intel machine for different things. There's different bits of software I need to run in Linux, and like I said, the flavor of Linux I like is Ubuntu. You might like something else. Feel free to try them. But so now we're just going to go through the process. So first of all, you need to install VirtualBox. That's my dog, probably going mental. So you just go next. Where do I want it to install? Do I want it? Yeah, that's fine. Next. Yep. Register file associations. So basically it just says it's going to drop the network connection, which is fine because it will get the network connection back. Just hit install, and then it just depends how long this takes. Yes, I do. It shouldn't take that long really to install it. Yes. Install that. Start Oracle. So there you go. That is your VM installed, guys. So you finish, and it should open it for you. So here you go. So this is what the VM looks like when you let's make it bigger. When you open it up, this is what you'll be sort of sat with, and then once you get used to VMs, there'll be a list of virtual machines down here. We don't have a virtual machine, so now we're going to go new. I am going to call it Linux. Normally you can put the distribution, whatever you want, Linux Ubuntu. That's wrong. And it's Linux, and then we need to get, where are we now? Linux. Then you need to pick which one you want. Ubuntu 64-bit. So if you don't have virtualization installed, you'll just get the 32-bit versions there, which you don't really want. So just hit next. How much memory do you want the virtual machine to have? On that machine, on the Intel machines, there's 32 gigs of RAM. I give it 8 gigs of memory. This has got 16, so I think I'm probably going to give it, I might give it 8, because that should be fine. Yeah, we'll give it 8,000, actually, because that's only half. That should be plenty for my machine. Next, now, you have to create a virtual drive to mount the operating system onto, basically. So the way I do it, you can do lots of different things. You can use an existing physical hard drive or an existing virtual drive if you want. I'm going to create one. Let's hit create, and I want a VDI, a virtual box disk image. I don't want a virtual hard disk or a virtual machine disk. Just click next. So this is up to you. You can have fixed size, or you can have dynamic. I just leave it as dynamic. I find that's fine in the past. So we'll do that. Linux Ubuntu, where do I want it to be? Let's see. I don't want it there. Where do I want it? Where do I want it? I want it here. Now I'm going to have to unlock this drive. Or in fact, do I? No, I don't. But I'll unlock that drive anyway. So if I do that, it'll take ages because this is like 2 terabyte drive. Ooh, incorrect. Is it? But I knew that. So yeah, guys, I just thought this would be easier. With loads of stuff. Anyway, let's have a look at properties. How much space? Ah, I've got tons of space. I'll put it on the C drive. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's go back here. File name. Box. I want to put it on this drive. Call it that. Save. You don't have permission to save this location. Contact the. I am the bloody. No. So let's call it something else. Let's just call it Linux. We'll go to C. Linux. Why does it do that? I wonder. That's weird. I should be able to do this. Yeah, we'll just do that. Save. And then it's just how much space you want to give it. I'm just going to give this 20 gigs because I don't expect to use this machine much. Again, it's up to you. You can give it as much or as little as you want. 20 is fine. My other machine has, I think it's got like 200 gigabytes. But then, like I said, the other machine is what I do a lot of work on in Linux Create. And there you go. That's it. So bang, 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 bang. You can, I'll show you about this in a minute, guys. There's lots of other stuff you can do. Like you can set how many cores you want to give your machine and things like that. I just need to check something on the other machine. Where are we? There. It's one person watching, which is good. Then, sorry guys, I'm just adjusting something. I'm not dropping any frames, which is amazing considering internet's been pish poor recently. Yeah, so I'll show you all this stuff in a minute. You can adjust how many cores you want to give your VM, etc., etc. What you need to do now is hit start. And then this is where it says, what do you want to do? So this is basically where you have to choose your disk image. So you click on that, and mine, and by disk image I mean the ISO of Ubuntu. So that's where my ISO is. When you're downloading it, the version for Windows, even whether you're running Intel or AMD, will always have the suffix AMD64. It's just the way the Linux kernel is made, but it will work on either machine. Don't worry about that. Let's hit open, start, and here we go. It's gonna start installing Linux for us. I'll make this a bit bigger for you. This shouldn't take that long. Yeah, it's fine. It's just detecting stuff. OS support my support integration. It's cool. Ubuntu. So there we go, guys. So it's now installing or mounting the operating system, Linux, onto the virtual disk you just made. And there's a few things you'll probably want to do. Try Ubuntu. You want to install it. You can also boot Ubuntu from a USB drive if you want to. I want to download the updates and I want to install third-party software. Continue. Might take a wee while, but hopefully it won't be too long. I don't want it. Do I want to encrypt it? Yeah, I will. No, I don't. I don't actually care about that because I'm probably going to remove this. Install now. Right, this changes. Otherwise, you'll be able to make further changes manually. Partition. Yeah, it's fine. Just do it. Then it's just like Windows, so London for me, because I'm in the UK. And English UK, because I'm in the UK. Your name, I'll just type in whatever here. Choose a password. Password I use for everything. There you go. Required my password to log in and encrypt my home folder. I'm not bothered because I'm not using this machine that often. And this is it. And so basically you're now installing or mounting Ubuntu onto your virtual drive, guys. And it's literally that simple. VMs are nothing to be scared of. And they're so useful depending on what you're doing. For instance, like I said, one of the VMs I run on this machine, on the Intel machine, is basically for work. So I do a lot of database work in it just because Linux has got a lot of really good free database software, as well as statistical software, and I do a lot of that kind of stuff for work. The other thing, I've got another VM running on this machine that runs all the time. Well, that's a Windows virtual machine rather than a Linux virtual machine. And all that does is it runs a RAID array for all the machines in the house. And that's been running fine for years. I've been doing that for years, and it doesn't take up much power. Like the RAID array takes up like 2 cores or something, hardly any memory. Because we're not using it a huge amount. If we were doing lots of read-write cycles, etc., moving massive files about, then I would have to give it more horsepower, so to speak. And if I was going to do that, I would probably rebuild a dual Xeon rig, and I would just leave it in the corner in a cupboard somewhere. I wouldn't bother using a VM. The other thing you can use VMs for is if you do a lot of video or photography. You can just have a VM watching an ingest folder that will then take that. As soon as you put something in that folder, it will take it, transcode it, and dump it somewhere for you to use in Photoshop or Vegas or DaVinci, whatever your flavor of software is. So I mean, I suppose what I'm saying is, like, you build these awesome PCs. Like I've got two, two awesome machines in the house. There's a pretty nice. I've got a nice laptop I'm rebuilding at the moment. And generally people just play games on them, and they might do a little bit of work on them. But I suppose what I'm saying is, they can do so much more, and you can be like, for instance, in my Intel machine, like I said, it's continually running a RAID array in the background. And yeah, I could run a RAID array in the background on that machine without a VM. The problem with that is when I'm gaming and things, I'll get performance hit, and I don't want that. So I run a VM, and then if anyone else wants any data or information or whatever off that RAID array, they can do that, and I'm not going to notice any performance hit because, you know, those resources are already allocated. And I think it's like the power of that I find very, very interesting. And I think a lot of gaming machines out there, like a lot of machines that you guys, my audience, will be building, I'm assuming are pretty mid to high end gaming machines, which means that you could be running some kind of virtualization on them if you wanted to. Absolutely no problem. You've got more than enough horsepower to do that. So yeah, it's one of those things. I really like it. I think VMs are totally worth it. I think they're something worth exploring, especially if you want to try another operating system. Like a lot of people, and I get it, you know, they don't want to move straight over to Linux. And I understand that if you've been using Windows for a very, very long time, or if you've been using Macs for a very, very long time, wholesale change is hard and it's scary. Whereas doing something like this, like, you can have your system and try out another operating system and see whether or not you like it. And then you might decide, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna get a really cheap PC, or I'm gonna build a PC and I'm gonna run Linux on it, and I'm gonna see what it's like now that I've tried it. And the benefit of Linux is that it requires so little overhead in comparison to things like like Windows 10, which is pretty good. Windows 10 is fairly streamlined apart from all the kind of crap they added into it that you have to continually turn off, like the keystroke logger and things like that, every time they update it. Whereas with Linux, you don't have any of that problem. You occasionally have to update the kernel, but if you're running Linux and you get into Linux, then things like that will become second nature to you, just checking essentially for an update. So I think there's a lot of power with VMs that lets you try a lot of stuff. The one thing I would say about if you want to run a virtual Microsoft machine, you will need a licensed product to do that. So it's pretty much the same process using the Microsoft virtualization software, except that the operating system you mount onto your kind of either physical or virtual drive, it does need to be licensed. Otherwise, after 30 days, you come into the same problem that people come into, where it loses some functionality. For me, it's not a problem. I've got quite a lot of spare Windows keys, like Windows 7, Windows 10 keys lying about, just because I bought quite a few of them over the years, especially when I see them going for next to nothing online. I'll just buy a load of them. Yeah, I just think it's well worth it, and it's come in handy recently when I was fixing a friend's laptop for her. She needed a Windows 10 key, and I had one lying about, so that saved her some money, and it earned me some beer, which is quite nice. Installation complete, so you just hit restart now. And all that does is restart the VM, essentially. And that's pretty much how quick it is, guys. There's nothing to it, really. And then press enter. There we go. There is no installation media, so don't worry about that. That's just if you're physically installing it, you have to remove the USB key or whatever it is. And this is just it going through its initial loading up. So it should work, hopefully. And it should log me into Ubuntu. I'll make this bigger. Once it does its thing. There we go. We're in. This is it. We're on the desktop key. Yeah, you'll get used to all this kind of stuff, guys. Pretty cool. And that's us. We're in Ubuntu, so we don't have to worry about anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down the VM for the moment, and then so now when you come back, when you open this, you'll have this here, Linux Ubuntu powered off. So you would just highlight this, hit start, that'll start your VM. But there are other things you can do. So there are other things like display. Let's go to display. So the problem with a virtual machine is that you can't, if you were running this, say, physically on a machine, it's really easy. You can download NVIDIA drivers and things like that. The problem with the virtual machine is that you cannot pass through the driver easily, which isn't strictly true. You can pass it through. If you're running Linux as your operating system, and then you're running Linux VMs on top of that, you can do MMOU, grouping pass-through, which is addressing pass-through. But with something like this, it's very, very difficult to set it up. So I tend to just come here and allocate it the full whack memory, 128. It's nothing. And I want to do that. So we'll go OK. Storage fine, audio network, USB, that's fine. Where are we now? This is what I want, is it? So processors. So this is where you set how much power the VM can actually have. So at the moment it's set to 1 core. When it says CPU, it means logical, not physical. So let's just whack that up to 4. Yeah, that's fine. Enable AMD. Basically, that's just saying that the hardware virtualization is enabled on the motherboard, etc. Let's hit OK. Now, we'll just hit start, because that's the only VM we've got. It should boot up. There we go. Let's get rid of this. Basically just saying that it's detected the keyboard. Yep. Look at that. Here we go. It's booting. And that's us. And it should. There we go. We're in. We are in, people. So this is it. Where's it gone? Oh no, there we go. There is a view, and let's hit full screen switch. There we go. So that's full screen mode. So this is basically your desktop. This like gives you system settings, etc. So you have to kind of get used to it a little bit, because like you close down things here, you make them small there, and then they appear here on the left. Or you can move that bar, so you can make the bar smaller. And then just mess around, guys. Just play with it. Basically, play with Linux. I love it. I think Linux is great. Let's go to appearance. I personally like that. Icy grass. And I'll make that, just makes your sidebar smaller. So I like that. Yeah, it's cool. And then we just click rid of this, and there you go. And that's it. So the Windows machine's still running. If you whatever, there should be, yeah, there you go. So this little bar down here is not Linux. This is the virtualization toolbar. So there's the name of the machine you're running, Linux Unbuntu, and if you hit that, it'll take you out full screen mode again. But yeah, let's go online. Let's see what's happening online. There you go, Firefox for Linux. It's awesome. What to do with a Linux VM? There we go. So yeah, just feel free. And there's tons and tons of stuff to do. Let's get rid of that. So it comes with LibreOffice, Calc, Writer, files. This is where all your files would go. So it's very much like a Mac. If you're used to using Apple Macs, you'll be quite used to this. And it's pretty snappy, considering this is running on top of Windows already. It seems pretty snappy to me. I quite like it. And that's it, guys. That's how easy it is to install a VM on your machine. Has the one person, if you're still watching, the person who is watching, have you got any questions? I mean, is this useful information to you? It's just to show you. I mean, we've been streaming for 25 minutes, and probably 5 of those has just been me rambling on, talking shite. So basically, even in 20 minutes, you can install a VM and mount an operating system onto your Windows machine that you can then use for something else. You know, you can leave it running in the background. So if I just do this, there we go. Oracle, let's just get that down. And here's my Windows machine, running absolutely fine. There we go, Oracle. Let's go to YouTube. See what's happening in the world of YouTube. And then you're like, oh, I need to go back to my VM. And there it is. It's a very powerful tool, I think. It's exceptionally powerful, and I really like it. Let's go view scaled. There you go. There's your VM, and if you need it, you just do that. Let's do that again. Let's bring up YouTube. So you can be working on lots of different things. Bring up VM. And this is the way I tend to use it. I tend to have multiple VMs running at once, and then I'll just click between them. The other thing you can have in Linux is you can have multiple workspaces, virtual workspaces. I can't remember how to do that now. Set desktop icons, change desktop, new folder, it's not there. How do you do this again? Yeah, and if you ever want to find anything out, you just type it in here. Click the Unity. That's called Unity, and you can type it in there. They might call it virtual. Virtual. Or is it desktop? Let's try desktop. But you kind of get the point. Desktop sharing, remote client appearance, desktop. Let's click on this. Allow other users to view desktop. That's not quite what I wanted, but you get the point with this. It's really, really easy to navigate around. I wonder if it's in settings. Online accounts, text entry, printers, But yeah, I can't remember how to do this now. It's kind of annoying. You probably need to download something that will allow, like a little add-in that will allow you to do it. Let's get rid of that. So that's it, guys. That's how easy it is to set up a VM. It's very, very, very easy. In fact, let's go back to here. Let's make this small, and let's just see how do you do it. In Ubuntu. How do I turn on workspaces? That's what I want to know. Here's ring, blah, blah, blah. Appearance, behavior, enable workspaces. See, I knew it was simple. So let's go to settings. For instance, appearance, behavior. Where's it gone? Display device menus. Enable workspaces. That's what I wanted to do. It's that easy. There we go. Let's close this. Workspace. And there you go. So there's your multiple workspaces, guys. So you can have different things here in each of these. And I really, really like this about Linux. Like, I used to have one that was like a cube and you could spin it. But you do have to download a plugin for that. But again, all these things, what's really cool about Linux is all this stuff is available in what they call libraries. And these libraries are managed by people, so nothing you download from a library that's managed should be corrupt or damage your system. So I just think it's really cool. Like, it's really neat. You have something open here. Like, so if we opened this here, there you go. There's a word processor. Let's go to this one and let's open calculator there. Great. Let's go to this one and let's open this. Another writer. And then, you know, what about down here? Let's go on the internet. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. Just having all this stuff open is amazing. And then what else do I want to do? Well, I wonder what this is. Let's have a look at what software. So these are other things you can do. You can just go and download these. And this is what I love about Linux. Like games, you can have games. Mahjong's very, very good. Lights off. That's really cool bit of software. Let's go back. What else could you do? There's just so much stuff. It's just brilliant. These are all free. Like the Linux version of Blender is very, very good actually. What else do you want? Development, internet, utilities. What utilities? Workrave. Woohoo! Notes are awesome. Documents, clocks, photos. So it's very much almost like kind of Google store. You just go, it's like I want this, or you can search for something, and then you're like, right, what am I doing? Oh, I was in the middle of writing something. You click there, or you go here and go, what's on the spreadsheet? You know, really cool, really powerful. Save on the machine states. I just sometimes power off. Oh, I don't want to power off machines. Cancel. I just want to see. That's the thing. I clicked up here because I'm so used to using Windows, and it's not up there, is it? No, it's not. So there it is. There you see. Click that to close it. Move it here. And where is it here again? Leave that out of the way. I want to close this. How's it gone? I don't use this that often. Is it? Template formula, text, drawing, HTML. Oh, showing my ignorance because I haven't used this in a while. But doesn't matter. If I needed to use it, I would figure it out basically. But yeah, it's very, very powerful. Let's go here, close that. Close this. Oh no, wrong one. You can tab between these as well. You don't have to click. So you can kind of. Oh, and then you just. Yeah. So you don't need to use a mouse. But that's basically it, guys. So unless there's any questions, I am going to shut down my VM. Shut it down. Awesome. And get rid of that. And back Oracle VM. And that's pretty it. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot to it. And that's a really brief overview of Linux. Also, when you've got multiple machines, you click on them so they're highlighted. This little preview shows you what the VM is doing, basically. And then you just click on that and it'll take you to that VM if it's running. This one isn't running, so it says there's nothing showing. It says here powered off. And that's it. That's it, guys. I hope this video was useful to some people out there. I really, really hope that some of you install VirtualBox or whatever bit of software you want to use. I hope some of you mess around with Linux and enjoy it as much as I do. And like I said, don't be scared of it. The great thing about a VM is it's a virtual machine, so it's isolated. You know, it's not going to corrupt anything really on the system it's running on. You can make it completely secure, and that goes for Windows VMs as well. You can take away all the rights on that VM. So if you want to be online, if you're chatting to someone online, and you know you want to show them something, you're worried, or another company, you know, just load a VM and just say, show me what to do in the VM. Don't tell them you're running a virtual machine; they'll never know. But it's just such a great bit of kit. I'm sorry I couldn't do a sort of recorded, edited video for this, but I don't have time at the moment. Time is very precious, and I have little of it, so I felt like, you know, I've got the capture card and everything, so it was easy for me to set this up in like 5 minutes and run through it. I have the software on the machine, so that's really it, guys. So unless there are any questions, I'm gonna get out here, I think. So